Hey everyone, it's Mama to Wife of One, and as promised, I am here on Thursday, January 14th, 2021, to give you a recap of the season 12 premiere of Married at First Sight. Ooh, I'm so excited. So, for you guys who have never heard of the show, Married at First Sight is a show where a group of single people. They normally pick 50 men and 50 women. They go online, they fill out this long questionnaire because they have the intent to marry. So they meet with these experts. One is a pastor, one is a sexologist, and one, I believe, is a psychologist. And they just ask them all kinds of questions about their relationship history, how they view sex, why they want to get married now, all kinds of things. And then based off of that, when the show first started, they picked, I think, only three couples. Now they're up to five. They pick 10 single people and they match them. And now here's the kicker. It's called Married at First Sight. So that means if I'm chosen, the experts will come to me and say, "Hey, Mom's wife of one, we have found a husband for you." Now, all they tell me about this husband is his ring size, so I can buy his ring. And then I meet him at the altar. So that means I'm getting dressed. I have my bridesmaids. It's an actual wedding and a very legit marriage, but you don't meet until you're right there at the altar. So a lot of people don't care for this concept. I know for me, because I'm a slightly control freak, this will never work for me. I ask way too many questions. But, the hope, people go into this with the hope that I'm going to meet my soulmate. I'm tired of looking for someone. I'm really ready to get married, and what I've been doing hasn't worked for me, so I'm going to allow the experts to do the work for me, basically. So that's the premise of the show. So we're in season 12, and last night we were introduced to the 10 singles, aka the five newly married people or about to be married people. So last night's episode was just a chance for the viewers to get to know these people, and it ended with the first couple about to get married. They all get married on the same day, roughly in the same venue. And this season they're in Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to start with the first couple, Brianna and Vincent. Brianna is black. Vincent, I believe, is Latino, but he's Afro Latino. So every person also has their own like moniker that's in a parentheses that kind of describes who they are. So Brianna is the outspoken optimist, and Vincent is the legacy builder. Vincent's whole thing is about getting married to start a family so he can leave a legacy on this earth. And Brianna is just very optimistic, like, yeah, it's gonna be wonderful. I'm ready to get married. Now the only issue I could possibly see is that they show all of the singles telling their family members and their friends that they've been matched up and getting married in 2 weeks. And so when Brianna's talking to her friends, they're like, "Well, I don't know, I'm a little worried about you because you like things a certain way. You're very particular." So hearing that gives me the impression there's a possibility she could be controlling. And also there's a possibility that she may not be good at compromising. And it's one thing to compromise when you've been dating for someone for years and they get to know you and you get to know them. It's a lot harder, obviously, to try to compromise with someone that you're just meeting. This is a perfect stranger. You don't know anything about their grooming habits, how they keep a house, how they balance finances, and you're merging your lives together. Because not only are you getting married right then and there, and that's when you're meeting them, you immediately have your wedding night, immediately the next day leave for your honeymoon, and then when you come back from the honeymoon, you're immediately living together. So there's no break for you to get married, get used to the idea, and then get settled in a married life. Everything is very much like this is happening right now. Boom, 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 boom. So it takes a while to adjust to that. So I am a little worried for her that it's going to be a little much for her. Vincent, I didn't really get a read on him. It seems like he's ready for a family. He does own his own business. And that's one thing. Everyone seems very successful on the show, which I think will help. But I didn't get like necessarily a good read on either of them. So it's like, maybe they'll work, maybe they won't. I need to kind of get to know them a little bit better. The next couple, okay, I wrote a few notes about these people, Virginia and Eric. I love you more, Ladybug. Virginia is white and Eric is white as well. This is the first time that I can remember in Married at First Sight history where they have someone who is a divorcee. Normally the people who come on the show have never been married, maybe engaged, but that's kind of it. So Eric is divorced. He's been divorced for 3 years. Now, the thing that's interesting about this couple is that he and his ex-wife divorced because he's an airline pilot and he was gone all the time. But he's over the divorce now. He's ready to give it another try. But the thing is, if you are that person, this is your career, and I'm not knocking that career, but it didn't work the first time because you were always gone. So now the expectation is, now I'm ready to get married again. The expectation, you're going to marry someone who's going to be okay with you being gone, but they match him up with the woman who has abandonment issues, who also is a party animal, likes to party. And the other thing is, they are, I think this is the couple. Oh no, this isn't the couple. But the fact that she likes to party all the time, just from comments she made last night, it seems like she's going to fall into the same trap as a woman from last season, where she has her life and loves her life, but she wants to get married not to create a life with somebody else, but to bring somebody into the life she's already created. And it's not a bad thing to want to share these things with somebody, but you also need to understand the mindset that this person is their own individual with their own likes and their own dislikes and their own things that they like to do. So it's okay to introduce them to things that you have going on, but you also need to be open minded to the fact that your life is going to change. Because she also made some comment like, well, I mean, I'm getting married, but I'm not ready to settle down. Because I guess in her mind, settling down means I'm just going to be home all day, bored, and I'm not going to have fun like I'm having fun now. And it's like, well, that's kind of an ignorant thing to say. That's not what marriage means. So I think that arrangement is going to look kind of interesting, because she is so outspoken and she loves going out and she loves doing this, and he seems very quiet, very reserved. And I imagine for someone who's an airline pilot and is gone all the time, when he comes home, he wants to just be home, not necessarily be out. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see their dynamic and to see how quickly she tires of him only wanting to be home, and how annoyed he's going to be that every time he's home, she's out. That's kind of my prediction. Oh, and I'll do at the end of the recap, I'll also give my predictions of who I think is going to make it. It's obviously a little early to tell, but I think I'm going to give it a wing. I'm going to skip the third couple because I actually wrote a lot of notes on them, so I'm going to save them for last. Haley and Jacob. Haley, her moniker is always the bridesmaid. Apparently, she's been a bridesmaid 14 times, and she's only had 2 serious relationships. She's 28 years old. Jacob is 38 years old. So I think the age difference may come into play in some way, shape, or form. Jacob, who is 38, doesn't necessarily act like a quote-unquote old man, because let's be very clear, 38 is not old, because I am 39. But I guess if you're 38 and getting married for the first time, especially to someone who's not even 30 yet, it could be like, But I think because he waited so long, maybe that means he's very serious about it and he's ready to settle down. And she has wanted marriage for a very long time, according to what her friends are saying. So I think that could possibly be all right. He's ready. He's a homebody, and based off of her personality, it seems like she's kind of a homebody as well. Now, one concern her friends brought up is that they believe she hasn't been in a lot of relationships, because once it gets to that stage where you have to have those really serious conversations about what you want in the future and how you're feeling and all that stuff, she kind of pulls away. And they were telling, like, maybe marriage at first sight is what you need, because this forces you to stay still and forces you to have these tough conversations that you've probably been avoiding for years. So I'm going to say early on that I think they'll be okay, maybe. Yeah, I didn't have strong feelings either way. I think that could be all right. The next relationship is Clara and Ryan, and a lot of people are making a big deal about their situation because Clara is white and Ryan is black, though I think he may be mixed. And so they make this big deal about, oh, this is the first interracial couple. And technically it's not. They had a season in Miami where they had 2 couples where the woman was Latina and the man was white. And I don't know why they don't include that as being interracial, because it really was, but what do I know? Clara's moniker, she's Miss Sassy and Spunky. She's a flight attendant. She's very bold in her speech, not rude at all, but she's very much like, this is how I feel, this is what's going on. She doesn't hold her tongue, but she's not mean at all. She seems like a really nice person, but she also seems like the person, if you get in an argument with her, if you're the husband or the boyfriend or whatever, she wants to address it right then and there. Okay, you can put it, no, eat your green beans first, okay? Eat some more, please. My daughter's trying to get out of eating her vegetables. But she's the type of person, if you're in a relationship with her and there's an issue, she's not going to be one of those women who is going to ignore the issue. She's going to just confront it head on. Not necessarily be aggressive with it, but just say, okay, so this is how I feel. I don't like that you did this. Yes, you can put it in the trash. I don't like that you did that. And obviously when you have that personality, you never know if the person you're matched with, especially because you don't know who they are, you don't know if they are going to appreciate that, or if he could be, her husband's Ryan, or Ryan is sensitive to that and may not know how to deal with that. So I think that's part of her fear. His moniker is Mr. Confident and Calculated, and one thing she really wanted was someone who was confident. Go ahead, sweetheart. And I think, oh, so their wedding is the first one they started showing, and they both gave each other gifts. And I love when, especially on the show, when they give each other some kind of gift. So she gave him like her favorite bottle of tequila and these shot glasses that she made herself, and he gave her wrote a beautiful letter to her. But they both had these masks on. Hers said bride, his says groom, and this is something that's never happened in the history of the show. And it wasn't, the producers didn't make them do it. It's something that the husband wanted to do, Ryan. He wanted them to both be blindfolded. He's like, I don't want my first view of you to be you coming around the corner and coming down the aisle. I want us to have an intimate moment before we lay eyes on each other. So this way we have our blindfolds on. They're going to walk you down the aisle. I'm going to hold your hand and have that intimate moment of touch and just holding your hand. I want us to start our marriage that way, and then we'll take our blindfolds off. And I was like, oh, that touched my heart just a little bit. I was like, okay, that was pretty sweet. I like it. All right. So I think they'll actually be okay. I think I like them together. So I think Ryan and Clara are going to be good. So this last couple, y'all. And it's funny because I went to someone else's page, another influencer, who recaps the episodes as well, with some other influencers that I follow. And she was asking people their opinion, like, hey guys, what do you think about the show so far? And every single person bashed the same person that I don't say I'm about to bash, but one of the guys, his name is Chris. I didn't get a good vibe from him when I first saw the episode, and apparently everyone that responded to this other person's post don't really care for him either. So the next couple is Paige and Chris. Paige is destined for love, and Chris is #blessed. They're both black. They both have a strong, she's using the bathroom. They both have a strong affinity for God, and for her, she mainly wants a person who is God-fearing and who wants children. And when they asked him, like, oh, what do you want? He's like, oh, I just want, a freak in the bed, and she gotta like sex, and I want a bunch of kids, and that was pretty much it. And it's like, oh, okay, but he comes from a family of ministers, and so it made it seem like spirituality is important to him. He just happened not to have mentioned that when people asked him what he wanted. But like he had moments where I was like, oh, okay. Like even before, one of his like closest friends is his pastor, which is like, that's kind of cool. And there's a scene where before he goes to pick out his tux, before he goes to the bachelor party, he has like a sit down with his pastor, and he was like, I've been fasting and praying about this whole thing, and there's some things that I'm concerned about. My last relationship and former relationships, I felt like I rushed into sex too quickly, and so for this one, obviously the relationship is going to be quick because we're going to be married, but I don't know if I want to like rush into having sex with her even on the honeymoon. I feel like I want to get to know her better because I don't want to ruin the relationship. And it's like, but you just said you want a freak. And not saying that two things can't be this, true at the same time. It was just interesting that he had that epiphany. So again, he had like those kind of moments where I was like, oh, okay. And then other moments where I was like, really, dude, like for real. But so I don't know. And from what Paige is saying, it seems like she's very open to the idea of whatever. She is an alpha person, but she is ready to learn how to be submissive to her husband, who she's going to trust to lead her and their family. And I don't know. And I won't say that Chris is an awful person. This is my first time virtually. This is my first time meeting him on TV. So I don't know what kind of person he is. But he even said a comment that I wrote down. It's like, I was born to be a father. I was born to reproduce myself. And I was like, even that, it just sounded really pretentious. And again, I shouldn't knock the brother because I don't know. But another thing that is concerning is that he was engaged. That's not the bad thing. But he, I guess, met this woman last September. He started a relationship with her in October. And he proposed in February. And they were divorced by April. And it's like, it's kind of a whirlwind. So that leads to him being kind of an impulsive person. So I don't know if he learned from that. But even, so my whole thing is, if you... being engaged to someone obviously is a serious thing. I feel like that's something you need to kind of get over and pray about and go through therapy about before you get into another relationship, let alone a relationship like this that starts off with marriage. And for my calculations, this is less than a year after you were engaged and now you're ready. Matter of fact, I think I wrote down how long it's been. Oh, yeah, it was 3 months ago. Because obviously they film it a little, the filming schedule, I don't know what time of what month it is there, but his last relationship was 3 months ago and he was engaged. So 3 months after an engagement, you're ready to just get married. It's like, I don't know. So again, I think it speaks to him being kind of impulsive. I don't know what that's going to mean for her. Some other notes. Weirdly, I thought it was weird. Every single bride has a dog, and one of the grooms has a dog. Paige, who is, first of all, is a black woman named Paige. That's already like, oh, okay, that's different. Don't know many of those. She has the biggest, realest looking booty I've ever seen. It sits up high, and it's like, oh man, I want that. But I digress. Also found it interesting that all the women are alpha females. Also found it interesting that this is filmed obviously in 2020, and obviously all of 2020 we're in a pandemic, but it spoke to the fact that they're in Atlanta. And I know in Atlanta a lot of things have been open for a very long time. So the first time I saw a mask was an hour and a half into the show, and it was one of the women who works at the bridal shop. And I was like, oh, that's right, it is still a pandemic, because no one in the cast is wearing a mask while they're out having fun, talking to their parents or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's right, it's still a pandemic and they're in Atlanta. No wonder a lot of people aren't wearing masks. I just thought that was really interesting to see. Though at the wedding, at least the glimpse of the wedding they showed, the people were social distance in the seating. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, the one of the black friends who was there at the bride, because if you guys haven't watched the show, the women, the brides and the grooms, they have their bridal showers or bachelorette party. All the girls have the bachelor party together, and all the guys have their bachelor party together. So two of the brides are black, and they were like chilling like some of their girlfriends, whatever. And one of the girlfriends was asking questions like, "But what's gonna happen if you meet him and he's not cute? Or what's gonna happen if you meet him and he don't do this?" And I'm gonna give this woman a pass because she was clearly drunk. But she's like, "But what's gonna happen if you find out your husband doesn't get fellatio?" And I'm gonna assume she meant cunnilingus. I'm gonna give her a break because she was drunk. But I was like, really, sis? But again, alcohol makes you say some dumb things, so that's fine. And yeah, those are the notes I had. So who do I think is going to make it? So I'm going to start with Clara and Ryan. That is the interracial couple with the white girl and the black guy. I'm going to say that they are going to make it. I feel like their personalities seem to kind of mesh well with each other. I think it's starting off very romantic already and kind of sensitive to each other's needs with the gifts they gave each other before they got married. So I'm going to assume that Clara and Ryan are a go and they're going to be good. Haley and Jacob, he is the one that's 10 years older than her. I feel like she seems a little serious. He seems a little goofy, but not all the way goofy. I think that they will probably mesh well together. I think their chemistry will be all right, and I think they'll both just be happy to be married and committed to making it work and do whatever it takes to make it work. So I'm going to say Haley and Jacob are going to be together. And Chris and Paige, my prediction is that Chris will not be attracted to Paige. Though Chris is not attractive, at least to me. I don't find Chris attractive at all. But I think Chris won't be attracted to Paige, but I think that he's going to admire other qualities he learns about from her. He's going to admire the fact that she is a go-getter, that she runs her own business. I think she rents a house. He's going to admire all those things about her and the fact that she loves the Lord and wants kids. So I think all of those things are going to override what he may initially think about her just from looking at her. But I think once he learns those things about her, it's going to make her more attractive to him. Now, I can't even say if she'll be attracted to Chris because who knows. But I'm going to say right now I'll give them a maybe with Paige and Chris because I don't know yet. I'll give them a maybe, but I want to make give them a no because it's still early. So I'll just say maybe. Now, for Virginia and Eric, the one who's an airline pilot and this woman with abandonment issues who likes to party, I don't think they're going to make it. I don't know how you get past the feeling of abandonment and being married to someone who's always gone. and you wanting to party and have somebody party with you, and this person, I'm sure when they get home, just wants to sleep. I don't know the balance with that. I don't see them making it, so I'm gonna say no. And then Brianna and Vincent, like I said, there hasn't been enough yet for me to get a strong feel for either one of them and what they like and don't like. So I'll just say they're gonna make it for now because I'm just not sure. So out of the five couples, I think Virginia and Eric are not going to make it, and I think Paige and Chris are a maybe. But those are my predictions for right now. Obviously, anything can change. Married at First Sight comes on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Lifetime. So next Thursday, expect another recap of episode 2. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and definitely comment below if you watched the show. Comment below about who you think is going to make it, or any tidbits you want to share about the couples. Do you know any of these people in real life? That would be great to know. And yeah, I hope to see you guys next Thursday. Thank you.